and welcome everyone to the Lunar Sea Spire Steven Universe fan podcast. This week we're going to be talking about every episode of Stevenbomb 3, and so today we're going to be talking about Onion Friend. My name is Ken, and joining me today, as is often the case, are...
I'm GC13.
I am neither north nor south.
He's Dakota. Okay, so today we had a very character-heavy episode, so of course I loved it. What did you guys think?
I'm just psyched because we finally got the episode where the twist is that there was no twist. It's really just Steven and Amethyst going to Onion's house.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's
when
so
we get,
meta.
Like, these leaked descriptions of the episodes, they're always pretty mundane, and then there's always this emotional twist. And while there is, like, definitely an emotional center to this episode, there wasn't anything that was really that unexpected.
It's not really even a leaked description. It's what they provide to TV Guide and all of the other listing sites.
Right.
I liked the episode, and I liked it in a weird way. Yeah, I really have no way to describe this episode. It's one that I really liked, and I couldn't exactly tell you why. Like, I really liked Vidalia. I really liked the way she was characterized.
Vidalia was pretty cool. She's just an older woman, middle-aged, but not as young as she feels, who's still pretty cool, but reliving the glory days,
Yeah.
Right. I really liked her character. Her character was good. And the way she was explaining how her life kind of progressed, how she kind of fell in love with Yellowtail and had a family, that was a really nice conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm reading into something that wasn't there, but I feel like this episode told us a lot about Amethyst's character. Like, honestly, when she was hanging out with Vidalia and Greg when they were younger, she was like the little tag-along kid, And she still really hasn't grown up that much in the, 30-some-odd years since, maybe probably more like 20 years since then. She really hasn't grown up all that much. And this despite the fact that when she was the tag-along kid with Vidalia, Greg, and whoever they ran with, she was already at least 5,000 years old. She was already thousands of years old at this point. So I think that lets us know that Amethyst is a pretty sheltered, gem. She really doesn't know that much of the world around her. And I know that from, one interview that Sugar did somewhere or another, that Amethyst doesn't even know a lot about, the home world, or, the politics there. So, I don't know, it makes me feel like I understand more from her, and that's one reason why I really like this episode, but I couldn't exactly tell you why, and I don't exactly know what to say about what I like about it.
I would definitely agree that Amethyst was 100% on point in this episode. Often, she's kind of been a little bit grating to me, a little bit annoying. I know she is your favorite Dakota, or second favorite, but she's never really even been in the running for mine. But here, this is everything I like about her. We're starting to see her mature and develop and work through some emotions of her own. I really, really liked it.
Yep.
My favorite gem is Stevani, if we want to consider her a gem. And if we're talking about gems versus fusions, she's my favorite fusion, and my favorite individual gem is definitely Amethyst. And I really like the complex, troubled characterization of her. And I think, I'm not going to lie, Pearl is definitely the most complex character on the show. But I think that there are some really interesting depths to Amethyst that I don't think are presented in a whole lot of other cartoons, which is why I really like her. And in this episode, it was, I don't know. Usually her response to conflict is a very whatever, I'm just gonna do my own thing, but her response to the conflict between Pearl and Garnet is way more mature, and the way that she's dealing with it is a much quieter. Anxiety might be the better word. I was going to say depression, but it's really less depression than it is
Yeah, she's just very exhausted by the whole thing. I liked how when Steven was there, she wasn't willing to talk about it at all, but as soon as Steven's gone, she just opens up to her friend.
Yeah.
Because that's how Amethyst is. She just does not enjoy admitting weakness.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking back to Tiger Millionaire, I only feel how I want to feel.
I wonder if hanging out with Greg and Vidalia and whoever else they hung out with made her grow up some from when she was a younger gem, and the only people she'd ever interacted with were the other gems.
I wonder if they ever took her out on missions. That Watson and the Shark painting from So Many Birthdays indicates that she probably did. So what role would she have played on the team if she's... I guess her exhibited age just shifted over the years depending on the mood of the crystal gems,
Okay, so with that Watson and the Shark painting, I have two thoughts on that. I think that it was either one... that the way the gems were characterized in that picture, they hadn't really thought as far as some of these season 2 episodes yet, and so they hadn't thought that Amethyst's hair was going to be that long, and that was a continuity error. And my second thought is that was a gag picture that they had gotten made after Pearl and Reg were a thing, and that wasn't actually a painting depicting something that happened on one of their missions. So, I mean, I think that Amethyst probably did go with missions on them because she was serving as the lookout for the temple. And I mean, we know Opal was a thing, so I don't think that, well, I mean, I guess it's possible that in the time that Rose met Greg that Amethyst started going on missions and formed Opal with Pearl, but I don't know. I'm more inclined to believe that, especially if they found her in the kindergarten and she had been fending for herself there for so long, and she had been a gem grown specifically for combat. I don't see why they wouldn't take her out on missions.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're willing to start taking Steven out for training, and he's a much softer target. But I'm just thinking, what kind of role would she play? Is she gonna... Because we know Steven kind of blew stealth a couple times. I'm thinking of Arcade Mania specifically. Amethyst would have been a very loose cannon if she was like she was in her young Amethyst form the whole time, you know? Young Amethyst, definitely not a master of stealth.
So I really like the fake out in the beginning where you think this is going to be an episode about Onion being in love with Amethyst, but then it's a lot more mundane than that. I really appreciated that. I was not looking forward to an episode about Onion being in love.
I think that's really cute that we got that little bit of misdirect there from the preview, or the spoiler. Probably would have been more powerful if, like, we had to wait an entire week or something to actually see the episode, and we had time for fan art to be made of, like, Onion as Amethyst's secret admirer, but...
I don't know, even, last night when all we had to go on was the preview that Cartoon Network posted, there were people who were like, hey, this one looks like Amethyst from back in her Story for Steven form, so maybe it was Vidalia who painted these? And those people turned out to be right.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, we just got some real detectives in this community, you know?
Yeah.
I wonder how bad crime is in Beach City, because there is only, like, a couple of people in her garage for a couple of seconds, and Vidalia comes out with a shotgun.
Well, she also comes out saying, I don't know how you got past the tarp.
Well, I mean, that wasn't the first time they came in there, though. She might have heard them the first time, blew it off, and when she heard them the second time, because, I mean, Steven left to go get Amethyst. When she heard someone in there the second time, she might have gotten concerned, because there wasn't really a whole lot of time between the first time and the second time Steven came back with Amethyst, presumably.
So, big mystery, though. Whatever happened to Steven's chaps? Onion took the chaps from Steven, and we never saw Onion give them back to him. It's like he traded Explorer Gal for them or something.
I think the snake ate the chaps.
Yeah, well, he didn't get a mouse to eat. That was Onion's meal.
Oh my gosh.
He was hungry since he didn't eat his mashed potatoes.
Oh my gosh, no. Fun little story. When I was little, we used to live right behind a exotic pet shop / tattoo parlor. Anyway, like, I would go in there with what little money I had. The mice were like $1 each, and I would buy them, and they would be my pets. I don't know the time frame, but at one point I decided, these little sterilized tiny mice don't deserve to be in this cage. I need to let them free, and so I let them free in the backyard.
Well, it's cheaper than setting sea pals free. But I liked the fake out with the... power fluctuation caused by Sour Cream's DJing.
Yeah, that was good.
So Onion appears very menacing, just as they're like, oh, hey, why don't you go away with Onion, Steven? He'll take good care of you.
How old do you guys think Onion is? I think he's clearly younger than Steven, but I don't know, like, how young I want to read him.
I don't know. I don't know how to tell the age of an onion. Do you chop them in half and count the rings? Is that how it works?
Well, I mean, clearly.
We can look at the date on that videotape.
Oh, was there a date on it?
No.
Speaking of lists of dates, though, it looks like from the Dad's Home thing that they had posted that Yellowtail spends about half of his time at sea.
The life of a fisherman.
Yep. And apparently, judging from Onion trade, even when he's back, he's still fishing just close to shore.
Yeah?
Yeah, Yellowtail's a hard worker, not at all like Marty.
I really like his display of, like, compassion for Amethyst, being willing to make the sacrifice to have to endure Onion for a little bit longer so that Amethyst can get her emotional catharsis by hanging out with her friend. I thought Steven's always doing stuff like that, but I always like it. It's always very sweet.
I also kind of interpreted it as him a little bit wanting to be like her, because, she was always down for anything, and so Steven decides that's what he has to be, too.
You think so? That interpretation did not cross my mind, but yeah, that's also plausible.
I mean, I think it's both. Probably your interpretation more so. But I do think he was taking inspiration from Amethyst, because he didn't have to follow Onion into a strange room only accessible by an air duct. He just had to sit there in Onion's room by the door, and that would have been fine for Amethyst, but he decides to be brave.
That's true. It's a very good point. Show still being the most emotionally complex children's cartoon on television.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Bob the Builder's got like a leg in that race.
Well, I haven't watched since season 3, so you may be right.
I like, hey, sour cream, and then sour cream continues raving, but just as a, hey, sup, motion towards Steven.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, because I thought Sour Cream really liked Steven. I thought all the cool kids did.
He does like
He was kind of cool.
They
He
do,
does like
but-
Steven. He acknowledged him. He was just,
I mean, I'm not saying he was super rude, but you would expect him to be more friendly.
he was just
Or I
totally
would.
raving right then.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the feeling that Steven figured, yeah, this is what sour cream does. Just, that's how he is.
Right.
He just goes into the DJ zone, Come on, Jamie in the drama zone? Anybody?
I understood.
Crickets.
Just wasn't funny. Okay, good to know. I just think this was a low-key episode.
It was, but it was such a good one, And the placement right on the Wednesday of Stevenbomb is probably a good one because I cannot see Thursday's episode, which is historical friction. I can't see that being a light
that's
episode.
a Jamie episode.
Yeah, I can't see that being a particularly
Really?
light episode.
I think it's going to be another light one. I think that this one and historical friction are going to be giving us a break before friendship, which is probably going to be a big deal.
I mean, we know that it has something to do with a historical play, and I think we're going to see some kind of exposition of the gems, and I don't know that it might be somewhat light, but I don't think it's going to be, very light. I don't think it's going to be as light as this episode. Definitely not as heavy as Friendship, but...
Steven and Amethyst hanging out with Onion and Vidalia. Can't get much lighter than that.
I really like Vidalia's hair. It's in the shape of an onion. I appreciate it.
Did anyone notice that Onion has, one of the many things that Onion has is a poster for Suitcase Sam's.
I know, I didn't see that.
No, I didn't notice that. I saw the door poster.
Yeah, by his door. Yeah, it's, but it's
Kind of
by
wish they
the
had taken that a
entrance.
step further and just been doors at the band, which is what I thought they were. I figured that's what it was a reference to.
Yeah, my mind did not go to the doors there. So unfortunately, though, Onion has had to downgrade from an alligator to a snake, so times are tough.
I still cannot believe he had a tape of his birth.
Yeah,
What kind of
that's-
joke was that?
That's
He was just-
disturbing.
It was really funny, though. I mean, it was kind of disturbing, but I still think that was really funny how casual he just popped it in. It's like, this is something I watch by myself sometimes.
It had a heart on the tape. Happy birthday, Onion, heart. So we're left to assume his mom gave that to him, and she just thought it was an excellent gift.
I guess so. I mean, the show is really sex positive, so I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, it's still a pretty funny joke, but because Vidalia does come across as this really artsy type, which is another element to her character that I really like, because in Story for Steven, she didn't come across like that. She came across as like this whatever kind of type of girl, and in this one, she's like a cool, fun mom.
Well, she was just kind of going through a phase in Story for Steven, I guess. She's graduated from hanging around artsy types to making her own stuff.
I mean, she was probably no, because she was making her own stuff when she was younger too. Because Amethyst was a
Yeah,
bigger
but that was
model.
after Story for Steven. She moved on. She started making her own stuff back when she was still hanging out with Greg, but she's transitioned. I do think it was a very believable, because someone like Vidalia in Story for Steven, you figure that person's not gonna just become a totally normal mother.
I'm glad she did it.
I think they gave her some edge. And I think it worked for her.
I thought it was strange that Vidalia and Amethyst clearly really like each other a lot. They clearly really appreciate each other.
But
They haven't seen each other in years, and they clearly don't live very far away from each other. Perhaps Amethyst didn't know where Vidalia was currently living, but obviously Vidalia knew, and Steven was able to run to Onion's house, and what we're left to assume is no more than a matter of minutes. So why would she not get in contact with this lady that she likes so much that she's literally painting what her memory of her looks like?
I did think that was pretty weird, but I guess it kind of makes sense. Vidalia doesn't want to trouble Amethyst, because in her mind maybe
It happens.
Amethyst has moved on.
It happens, People can live in the same town and not even particularly far from one another, and they just lose contact with one another. Granted, Beach City is a really, really small place, but I have to wonder if the reason they present it as being as small as it is, even for a small town, is just because it is a cartoon. And I'm in terms of storytelling, it makes sense for things to be really close together like that.
I mean, if you look at Beach City, it's only I don't know how large is a typical city block. You can probably fit it on one or two city blocks. It's not a big place.
No, but they also have some stuff that's out away from the main part of town. because they do have like
Oh yeah,
what I think of as a
Beach City
square.
has suburbs.
They have like those little suburbs right there, and obviously Greg's car wash, wherever it is somewhere away from the main part of town.
No, it's Greg's car wash is backed up against the hill behind the temple, straight down the street from the Big Onion, or the Big Donut.
Really?
Got onion on the brain.
Onions are so delicious.
If you kind of fry them up on the skillet a bit, I agree.
My dad used to like take onions out of the wherever we kept them, not in the fridge, because they go bad if you do that, and eat them like an apple. That always grossed me
No,
out.
that's gross. No.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, I'm not defending that.
Ugh, I don't like onions.
I mean, he said onions like 20 times, so he must want onions, right?
That's how language works.
So if I say onion, is that like double negative, and you mean so no onions?
No. That just the more times the word onion comes out of your mouth, the more they're going to remember that you said onion, and the more they're going to make sure to give you onions.
So there's not a way for you to communicate that you don't want onions.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're stuck at a catch-22. By telling them that you don't want onions, you tell them you want onions. And then you add bacon, because of reasons. But yeah, Beach City downtown, not that big, I agree. So I guess that's it for Onion Friend. Listen to us tomorrow. We'll be talking about historical friction. Jamie and Steven get in the drama zone. How exciting. Until then, I'm GC13.
I'm Ken.
And I'm not Dodge either.
Okay. Our opening and closing music is by James Roach. For more Steven Universe fan-related content, please visit lunarseaspire.com. Thank you for listening.